Okay, folks, happy 4th of July. And we're going to try to do some painting today. Finish up the Byzantine horse that we got going on. And just recap for my purposes too, what we have. And this is the figure that we've got 2 of them already painted. Not sealed, but they're painted. And then this guy that is nearly done. We only have a few things to touch up on him. And he'll be nearly done with the padded armor. The green quilted padded armor on this guy. We got a little bit of touch up to do on that. And then once we're done with this figure, we can go seal them. We can go seal these guys. All right. Got some of these brushes that need some of these little bits of paint taken off of them. Wolfman, welcome. Been gone for a couple days and got back early today, and hopefully we can finish up these figures, or this figure, so we can base these folks on here. We don't have a whole lot to do on them. Just mainly need to touch up the green. Of course, I have to remember where the hell I was at. I didn't think I was going to be able to use this green over here, but I ended up using it. Yeah, it was something like that. And I'm sure we do not have a white that's finished. That's alive there. It's 2:30 a.m. Holy moly. Wow. There's no way I'd be able to stay up till that time. Actually just did an unboxing and a video's processing. So I'm going to announce that. Be on the lookout for that. I actually got something that someone had bought for me about a year ago, and it just came in the mail. So that video is processing right now, which it's not a very long video, but it takes some time to process those depending on Essex. This figure is not Essex. He's actually Old Glory. It's actually an Old Glory figure. This guy right here. There's actually no Essex in this army. I don't think there's any Essex in this army. It's mostly Old Glory, and the Normans are tabletop games, old tabletop games, which are now carried by alternative armies. And a French manufacturer that's out of production now called Alain Toulaire. Oh, the unboxing. No, it's a well, I'll spoil the beans. It'll be on it. It's a. My brother ordered a Kickstarter on a new paint palette, and I thought that's what it was. Looking at the box, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. As soon as that video's up, I'm going to switch to it So it's a little bit bigger, and he said he bought it as a Kickstarter and said he didn't know if I was going to find it useful, but yeah, it's very, very useful for sure. But that video is processing right now. It's only like a 9-minute video, so it should be up shortly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to forget the video is even uploading. I'm going to finish painting this figure, which is not going to take too much longer. Then when I go spray them, I'll check and see how that video is. And then probably go ahead and do the announcement on them. We'll come back to painting, but we'll just keep the video running during all that. It's not going to take very long. I think we need to bring this up a little bit with some more color, but yeah, he said he wasn't sure if I'd find it useful, but hell, I already use the products, and it's the same maker of the one I have, so it's the same but different. So all right, we need to do the bottom of the boots, which we're going to go ahead and make the boots the same color we did the other one. Going to do the exact same color. It varies a lot how long it takes YouTube to process a video. If you do it at some weird time, it processes it fast. If you do it at a very busy time, I've had a video that's taken over 12 hours to process. And what I mean by that is you've already uploaded it to YouTube, and YouTube has to do is, magic stuff that they do to get it viewable in HD, because I don't want to, announce a video when only the standard definition's ready. Like, you don't want to watch that. Some people are only going to watch my videos one time, if at all, and you don't want to give them a video that looks like garbage, because they'll be like, oh, all my videos look like garbage. Then that's not true. So saddle cloth on this guy. Well, hell, it's blue in that picture up there. Let's do it blue. F it. Mr. Kevin, welcome. Happy 4th of July to you. Back for more. I don't have any plans of getting any more figures until Historicon, which is only about 3 weeks away, something like that. Actually, I don't even have any plans to get them there. We'll just see what jumps in my comes home with me. We got back a lot earlier today than I would have thought, so that's a good thing. That definitely enabled painting to happen for sure. this is the stand that has a second guy shooting a bow. So the rest of the guys are just, they're armed with lances, even though they're cavalry. So yeah, I just went out of town we left on Saturday afternoon. I guess 2 days. All day yesterday and Saturday afternoon. Only went about an hour and a half away, not too far. What's 4th of July for you? We blow shit up. Nah, I really low key. You know. This one, brother shot off some fireworks yesterday and really low key. We just had kind of a family gathering. Sorry, shopping at Walmart. But what'd you do wrong when you got to shop at Walmart? I haven't been to Walmart in 5 years or 6 years. And don't plan on going back. Hope you survive shopping at Walmart. Have I done that before? I don't know. I mean, I may have been out in public and listened to somebody's show. I bet I have. If I had to go to Walmart, I certainly wouldn't want to listen to anybody that was there. There is not much left on this guy, and I almost got him done before I left. Almost nearly. What are we missing on this dude? First of all, there's a little bit of black showing there, and there shouldn't be. I mean, a little bit of brightness. But we didn't do cookouts or anything like that. We don't really do that kind of stuff. We do if we get invited somewhere or something, but that didn't. We were out of town, so. Know quite a few people traveling, actually. 3-day weekend, so that's good. I was supposed to take tomorrow off, and I decided not to take tomorrow off. Really was no. We had originally planned on doing something, maybe doing some longer travel. So once that didn't happen, there was no point in taking that day off. Use it for something else that's a little bit more useful. What was I just thinking about? I needed to stop that so I could. Oh yes, Nuln Oil. We need to put Nuln Oil on his on the armor here. So yeah, we ended up not going very far at all. We needed to be back today. So I'm not just going to take the day off just to not do anything. But we only got like 3 weeks till Historicon, so I don't think it's likely these guys are all going to be done 100%. It's just, you know, one of those things. But we'll keep plugging along, and we're not starting anything else until these guys are complete, so. Maybe I'll be surprised and actually do get them done, but I'm not holding my breath. Let's get some, we're going to do the horsetail. Let's get some medium brown type color. We got a mess of paints over here. How's that upload looking? Let's see. I've actually never done this, is uploading a video at the same time that I'm doing a live thing. It's a first time for everything. Well, looks like it's up. I bet I'm not going to be able to select the thumbnail. Correct. I don't know what it is. If you ever upload any videos, sometimes it gives you an automatic recommendation on your thumbnail, which, you know, I specifically want the very first thing on my we'll do this a little later. I specifically want the very first, something out of the very first 10 seconds of my video. I specifically make it like that, and sometimes it lets you select it, and sometimes it doesn't. So I had the video all the way uploaded, and then had a spelling error I didn't want to look at all the time. I spelled, I was in my haste of uploading the video, I misspelled the name of on the intro of it wrong. I added one extra letter, and you make your thumbnails. I do too, but I'd rather it just select the very beginning of it. You know, it's just one less thing I got to do. And yeah, I had a spelling error on it. I didn't want to have to. It would drive me crazy. So I had to redo the whole video and upload it. Luckily, it's only 9 minutes long, so it didn't take long. But it did encroach into the time that I had planned on going ahead, and I want to finish these guys, and it's going to involve some spraying and stuff, so we'll start working on the other 3 cavalry guys while this is drying. When there's lots of steps, I don't want to be idle, so. Let's get this. And it's just the tail because the mane is hidden underneath that scale or leather armor. I just don't. I don't have the energy I don't have the energy for everything. And if there's a shortcut I can take to do something, I'll try to take a shortcut to do that. ended up getting a video game the other day, and I played it a little bit. It was on sale on Steam. The Field of Glory Empires, which is a strategic game to Field of Glory. I've played Field of Glory quite a bit. It's pretty fun. It doesn't take the place of face-to-face stuff, but I picked up the Empires and just jumped in, and the intro scenario ended up being pirates. And the cool thing about it is you can actually export the battles and play them in Field of Glory too. So I just marched, fought 2 battles, crushed the Romans in both of them, and took Rome and won the game. So it's like bam, bam. You know, I looked at, it was a little bit overwhelming, the screen of all the strategic stuff I have to do. I'll be able to do fine with the battles because I have experience playing that. Actually, after playing DBA, you know, I already knew what to do. It was just a matter of what buttons to press. But the strategic stuff, I started watching a couple of videos, and it's like, man, it's really involved. It's really, really, really involved. And I tried watching a couple of videos that people have done on them, and I was just like, man, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to watch these videos right now. So that'll have to wait. And, you know, anyways, the video games are just an inspiration to do more of this, not the other way around. So it's not like I want to play video games and not paint. But and, you know, it's one of those things that I'm playing alone. There's no one to talk about all the awesome things that may have happened in the campaign or something like that because nobody else was watching you, you know? Yeah, there's no way I'd be able to stay up till 2:30 in the morning. That'd be impossible. I'd have to wake up at 2. You could Twitch the game. I don't want to get into Twitch. I don't use Twitch at all for anything. I don't find it very useful. There's a lot of like dancing around and stuff like that. I could do a live on here. I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing in a tactical game. I can kick ass in a tactical game. But the strategic game, you know, it's kind of neat. They only give you 2 scenarios. They actually only give you 1 campaign game. And there's an expansion for the Persia, which starts you at like 550 BC. But the standard one is 301. And that's pretty cool. I'm painting for the next video, so it's a bit of work. Okay. Yeah. The scenario starts in 301 BC, which is kind of cool because you've got some successor kingdoms, but you know, some of them have already the Antigonid Empire is huge. I mean, it's got 30, 40 zones, something like that. That's not what to start off with, so I think I'm going to have to listen to one of the guys doing the video and pick the same country he did and just kind of look through all the options. But man, there's a lot of options on there. A lot of options. But and this guy was saying he didn't like playing the battles. And I'm going to export them because at least I'll be freaking... I mean, I know what the hell I'm doing, how to run a country, but I'll be able to win the battles because I've played quite a few of them. Entered a couple of tournaments and stuff like that. So, and I went about 50-50, a little bit better than 50-50. And that's without being really inexperienced. Why does this white keep falling over? Without an experienced Field of Glory player, but it was really easy to just jump in and start fooling around with this stuff because I had played their pike and shot game, so I was familiar with how that kind of operated. And there's a lot of things I like about it. I don't, I miss having a pip mechanism where I can just do anything I want. Everybody can move every turn. That's a little weird. I prefer when you're not able to do that, but all right, let's add this. But I like those games because they're inspirational to do more painting, sometimes. But I'd have to watch a YouTube video on how to stream on Twitch. I just don't need to do that, Maybe if I lived alone and I didn't have anything to do, maybe I'd want to make time for that, but I just can't. Just like YouTube Live has all kinds of conditions, and I did it for a little bit, but I couldn't get the resolution where it needed to be, so I don't want people to see a crummy thing. Crummy quality video. All right, we're not going to put any socks on this horse. We'll leave him be. Let's just paint his hooves. Clean up his beard a little bit, and he'll be ready to go. I didn't know what I was going to do here, and the daughter's away for probably the rest of the day. Still got a couple of shows to finish watching with her to get caught up, but I'd rather do this than watch television. It's just hard to run into something and be like, man, I'm glad I didn't do anything else other than watch this show. Nah, they always manage to screw it up. I guess a lot of people that watch television are impressed easily, or maybe I'm just a difficult customer, but I would much rather do this. Or even video game. You just finished Stranger Things. We finished that the other day. Unlike video games, movies and series are the opposite of video games. Video games generally, sequels of them are generally better. Series and movies are tended, the more they make, the crappier they get. In my opinion, I didn't care for it very much. I thought it was my least favorite season. The first season is one of the best things I've ever seen in television in 30 years. It is really, 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 really good. Season 1. Season 2, not as good. Season 3, not as good as Season 2. This one just, couldn't, I'm not surprised, I'm not surprised. But the first one was incredible. The first one was incredible. With that said, it's still better than most things that are on TV, which is not saying a whole lot. But I didn't care for the whole, the interesting thing about this last season is they split the people up in so many different areas. You had people in Indiana, you had people in California, then Nevada, you had the Russian group. Was that it? I want to say there was one more split up. Anyhow, I didn't care about anything that happened in Russia. I thought the whole Russia thing was stupid. I think the last season, the previous seasons where they did the Russians, they cast the wrong people as Russians. It was just goofy as hell and dumb. And it didn't get any better this season. It was just, I wished it would just not eliminated the whole Russian thing. It basically boiled down like the only thing I cared about was what happened in Hawkins. Because the California stuff was also kind of a freaking waste. But, they didn't ask my opinion on it. The first season was so good because there was things to think about, while you were doing it, while you were watching the show. And yeah. But I'll watch the next one if they have one. We got, I think, an episode and a half to finish up with the Kenobi thing. We haven't finished that one either. That's not going well. But season 1 Stranger Things was awesome. It really, really was very, very good. Well done. I was like, for once, finally there's a show where kids aren't the badasses. Because usually that's what they'll do, is they'll have something like that involves adults and kids. And the adults are scared of shit and apprehensive, and the kids end up being the superheroes. They aren't scared of nothing or whatever. Hey, I was a kid before. We're scared of crap, Kenobi is so terrible. About to start Umbrella Academy Season 3. I don't know anything about it. Every time I see Umbrella Academy, I think of... What's the name of that? Every time I hear Umbrella Academy, I think of... what's the show with the zombies? The movie? Resident Evil. Isn't there an umbrella, something like that? Kenobi is so terrible. Yeah, it didn't have to be, but... Little Leia is like a... I haven't finished it, but Little Leia is like a character between... she looks like the child of frickin' Billy Crystal. There's something like totally wrong with that little girl. She's like all forehead. Yeah, is it Resident Evil? Isn't there an Umbrella something? Is it an Umbrella Corporation or something like that that's in Resident Evil? I've only seen the first Resident Evil. And, yeah. I've only seen the first Resident Evil, and I'm not a fan of the Mila girl. Otherwise, I'd see more of them, but that isn't necessarily true because I'm a fan of... I haven't seen more than one of the... what's the vampire one? Give me a second here. No, I can't remember. I don't think about these things all the time. But I've only seen one of the vampire ones, and I wish they were just one-off movies, not just keep making them, because it's like, man, it's hard to commit and watch all that stuff on there. Yeah, and it's been so long since I saw the first Resident Evil, I'd have to watch it again just to watch the second one. I mean, I don't have to. I choose to. I would choose to. But that one had something that I'm surprised Walking Dead never did, and that was zombie dogs. I think zombie dogs was the way to, I thought that was pretty cool. Those zombie Dobermans they had. Raccoon City. Of all the city names you can come up with, that's the best you could do. Raccoon City. They have a give Pennyworth a go. What's Pennyworth? I'm really difficult with shit, though. I'll be honest with you. I'm just Pennyworth. Is that a show? I'll watch 10 minutes of anything. I'll watch 10. There's so many things to watch. It's just like, man, I can't keep up with it anymore. All right, let's get some of this metal color, and then this guy should be done. There's stuff I want to see, but I don't have access to it, and I don't really want to buy it, I won't rewatch things, but. So yeah, the other thing that hit me about Stranger Things is, I was basically the same age those kids were in that year. And they play a lot of music. I'm a big 80s fan, and they play music in there I've never heard before. So, either it didn't get airplay here in the United States, or in the part of the United States that I'm in, or they had to find, this is more likely, they had to find obscure things that people did not want have to pay a ton of royalties to the artists. That's probably what it was. So, or it just didn't get airplay, or 10 minutes of Pennyworth. Yeah, like that. What's that artist that the redhead girl played all the time? Kate Bush. I've never even heard of Kate Bush. Never even heard of Kate Bush ever. And maybe they just didn't play it here. Or maybe it was just somebody like, okay, you can use my songs. You don't have to give me any royalties. Who could we find that's that's around that? I could see you don't want to make some series, and next thing you know, you got to spend $100,000 to give to a certain artist just because you need to use an 80s song, But so even though I did not like the last season of Stranger Things, it's still better than most things that are out there. But I'm not saying a whole lot. There's one series I liked, and I never saw the last episode of it. And it kind of ticked me off. Not that there's really any doubt how it ended, but welcome, Joe. And that was a series that was on, it was probably 10 years ago now, called The Dig. And it had Jason Isaacs in it, as an archaeologist that goes to the Holy Land, and he's kind of trying to stop this conspiracy of, people that are some crazy evangelical group here in the United States that's trying to bring about the rebuilding of the temple, to bring about the second coming, or all this kind of. So you had the spy thing and the end of the world crap, and I don't think there was anything supernatural in the show whatsoever, but it still didn't. It still had people, trying to commit crimes and, murdering people and that kind of stuff. So I watched, it's 10 episodes, and I didn't watch the last one. I think something happened. They aired it at a time that I couldn't see it. And when I decided to go back to it, I never saw it. So I've seen 9 episodes and not the 10th one. But I thought it was pretty decent. Thought it was actually pretty decent. So I've been looking to see when that thing resuscitates itself, but now I'll have to watch all 9 episodes again just to see the 10th one. Oh, man. There's too much stuff to watch. Just too much stuff to watch. Fixing some grilling, then getting on to paint. Yeah, no grilling for me. We did most of our 4th of July stuff yesterday. So. Okay, so this is what this guy's going to look like. We'll let him dry a little bit before we go and spray him. I think these guys are going to look really good. Why is the lighting so darn shitty here for the camera? It isn't for me, it's for the camera. See if we can brighten this up some. Here. What happened? Let's try this. So this is the 3rd stand. We'll let these guys dry a little bit. Or the one guy dry a little bit. All right, let's grab the next set of... Let's grab the next set of 4. This next set of 3. Learn how to count, man. Learn how to count. This is the command stand, so I'm not going to do that. Here's 4. Here's 3. Sorry. Jeez. I need to have a drink. Here's another one. This would be the second one. That's 3, 4. I think that's what it is. I have the commander and 2 more. All right. What do we got here? This guy has... I'll paint a guy that's different. This guy's got a guy that's different. And this is a guy that's different. All right. Good afternoon. Mr. Ben, Uncle Ben. All right, horsewise. So this one has the same guy with padded armor. No, it won't be green on him. And then this guy is a new figure, and this is a lane 2-layer guy. All right, so we're gonna have one armored guy. We've already done an armored guy with an Old Glory one. I think it's time for one of these 2 guys to have the armored horse. All right. We're going to need to get our file. For sure, for sure. Good thing I'm organized, or This would be worse. Put this away. It's going to be a little while before we need that. Need 3 of these discs. I don't know what it is about the big file. I can never find that son of a bitch when I need it. I guess I should say I don't know. I can't find it, so I can find it. Alright, I'm going to need super glue. Okay, calling it a night, a morning. Thanks for stopping by, man. You think you found the last place to buy the Field of Glory Renaissance rules? Steam has the PDF as a download content for their Sengoku Jidai game. $278 for the main rules and 2 expansion. Isn't too bad. It's not. No, I think I have it too. I picked it up on that. I didn't care for the Sengoku Jidai one. I didn't care for it. I thought it was very limited. I played a little bit. I love the Field of Glory Renaissance one, whatever it's called, Pike and Shot. I play that one a lot. I think the reason I didn't like the Sengoku Jidai is all the units seem to be combined with shot in them. I don't know. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it too much. And I don't dislike that period or those armies. Is Field of Glory Renaissance not available anymore? Another good reason not to get into that. I discontinued it. I played the Pike and Shot game a lot. I think it's pretty good. There's lots of good stuff in there. I think there's a lot of things that they do correctly. Or in the spirit, the correct spirit of things. All right, let's clean this guy up. This is a horse from a Gladiator set. This is the same horse as this other one. Maybe we should use this other one instead. We'll use this other one in the... Yeah, okay. All right, we'll have to repeat this horse, and it won't be on the same figure, so it doesn't really matter. Just try to make him different if I can. Those games are well worth the money, though. They're really inexpensive. Really inexpensive. I think when I bought Pike and Shot, it was $20, and it was still, I think it's available even cheaper now. I had the original Pike and Shot on the iPad and played it quite a bit. And they did not make the expansion, the one where you could play the campaign game for the iPad. So I had to wait until I had a computer and got it. And it's one of the few computer games I have. I don't have a ton. There's just not a whole lot of them I have a whole lot of interest in and getting. But that one does happen to be one of them. Whatever it's called. I guess it's called Pike and Shot Campaign. And I think it's reasonably challenging. You know, it's almost more like a generating, it's a battle generator more than a campaign, but it's not bad. It's super user-friendly. Those games are, you just jump in and start doing shit, you know. I think they got a tutorial. The tutorial's pretty easy to process. Let's glue these horses down. It's going to take a little bit for them to set. I think all the Field Glory books were stopped. Field of Osprey published them, but I guess they split. They're just, I've seen some. They're just too beautiful to use. You know, I hate using something like that, so I'd feel better about using a PDF. Didn't seem like that rule set lasted around very long. And that's a whole lot of figures to paint to not be able to play that for a while. Go and build a Field of Glory army, and the next thing you know, nobody... You can't get stuff for it anymore. Alright, I'm going to go spray these guys. These three. I'll be right back. And hopefully these guys will be dry enough. We can go ahead and epoxy the figures on there. Be right back in a jiff. Okay, I'm back, but I gotta take care of something, unfortunately. We should be able to do it while we're live here. Let's see if we can drop. Let's see if we can drop. Let me think about how to do this. Okay, I should have one thing that's frozen there. See, I'm alive over here, but the other thing's frozen. I need to use my phone as a phone here for a second. And the problem I have is I'm gonna try to do this for real quick, and if I can't do it, then I'll do it later. But I posted a video, and then I wanted to share it while I was coming back, and it doesn't show the thumbnail on it. And I fixed it once before, and it's a cache issue, so I have to clear the cache on Facebook. And I remember how to do it, what it involved, but I'll see if I can't do this quickly. If not, come back and do it at another time. It's really annoying to post something and not have a video and not have a little thumbnail of it, especially when you made one. Come on. Technology is great when it works. I don't know why there's a cache issue. I'm going down the damn rabbit hole, aren't I? You know, I hate having shit out there that's wrong, so. On your phone, go to settings, okay? Yeah, I'm there. Thought it was there. Okay. Got it. Okay. It's the settings on the phone. If I'd have known this, I wouldn't have launched the freaking video and done it. Settings. Okay. Apps and notifications. Apps. Okay. Find that one. Storage. Clear cache. Okay, I think that. See if that'll do it now. It's funny as I was doing it from the computer, and it didn't want to let me do it from the computer. So how somehow they're tied in to each other. There we go. Now we need to go to Fudgesicle. here. All right, we're good. Now let's just get back to where we were. First step, we need to launch this. And it may already be back up. I think it's pretty smart about getting that back up. We could have to close a ton of stuff here. We don't need this one. We don't need that one. We don't need this one. We don't need this one. And we should be able to go back to here. And now we're live again. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. I guess I have to have problems like this happen more often to be able to deal with them more effectively. But that was really strange that I was trying to share it through a computer, but I needed to go in my phone and clear the Facebook cache from the phone. I couldn't do it from the computer. Well, what if I didn't have a phone? Then how would I have been able to clear it? I don't know. We need to clear this area here. Speaking of clearing the cache, I need to clear the cache of all this stuff that's just hanging out all over the place. What's going on here? It's all limp noodle mode. All right, well, why won't this hold? Hold, damn it. All right, let's move these guys out of the way so we don't fall on them. Let's move these, let's put these paints away. We got stuff everywhere. That's what happens, because we're going to need a little bit of space for what we're going to do next. And this is tied in. This ties into that video I just posted from an unboxing I did earlier today. So you can stop and go check that out now, or check it out later. It'll still be there. But I wanted to get it out there. Something that my brother got for me about a year ago, he says, and it took a year to get in. And he said he thought I might find it useful. And he sounded very apprehensive about it. He didn't sound very convincing, like it was going to be something that was very useful. But it was. It was, so. He didn't know what he was talking about. It's very useful what he got me, so we were going to start using that immediately. And as soon as I make room for it, we will bring it out. And right now, I mean, I need to kind of kill time anyways, because the figures are drying. Doesn't mean I can't work on this stuff, but it's not really slowing down the process of anything. All right, we got all these half-ass white colors that I probably need to throw them away anyways. They're half used. No need in hiding this too far. We're going to use that in a moment. Freaking brushes galore. All right. This goes over here. All right. Just put one of these away. I have two of them out. These guys can kind of hang out over here. All right, we need to, some reason this isn't tight enough. All right, let's get the mouse out of the way. Water can come up here. All right, let's go pull out what we did the unboxing on. I'm stealing my own thunder. Wow, I want to use it. So we've been using, he got me a wet palette, and we've been using this. And now, It's the version 2 of it. It's a little bit bigger, and this one's made in the European Union instead of being made in Red China. So we're going to switch to using this thing right here, and it's got a cover on it. It seals a lot better, which I don't think is really the problem this thing has. It gets mold in there. So actually, what I'm going to do is, before I actually use this, I'm going to watch a couple of videos about maybe some people, what they put in their water to keep mold growth on there. I've heard about a little bit of Clorox. It's just annoying to close this down for like a week and you come back and you got mushrooms growing in there, which doesn't really affect anything other than, I don't really care about smelling them. But that's what we're going to be using in the future. It's a little bit bigger, and I have it, and it's maybe 25% bigger. They make a big one that's almost the size of this blue mat. That would have been too big. So luckily it's not one of those, but you can check out the unboxing video on that, and you can see what that's all about. It's a little 9-minute video, so I had no idea that was coming, but it's definitely something that will be put to good use. Unfortunately, I just bought 50 papers for this, so we'll. I don't want to get that one started wrong, so I want to read up about what I got to put in the liquid, what people's suggestion is to put in the liquid to keep the mold growth down. And I'm sure there's probably going to be 8 different opinions on it. And let's see, the volume isn't on this. Okay, so these guys should be plenty dry. We're going to mix up some epoxy, glue these guys down, and then by the time they're glued down, I probably should be able to bring the sprayed figures and coat them. I've been using this as the coating, and you can see how much of it I've used. Probably 50% or pretty close to it, but it has gotten some flakes in there, in this stuff, and it's part of the lid. The lid that this comes with has almost like an aluminum coating, and flakes of this have come in and gotten into the mix. And or is it a white coating? Because it's definitely little white flakes. Yeah, flakes of this stuff have gotten in this mix and have caused, when you seal something for good, to have little chips of white paint in it. It's happened to me a couple times, or white whatever the hell this is. So we're gonna get rid of this one. We bought a new one before I left, and that's the one that we'll use. And so yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but there are definitely flakes of this stuff in there. But anyhow, we'll let the spray last, the gloss spray go on a little bit longer. Epoxy and these figures that are going to be on here. Now let's do a test, because we're going to have to glue these guys in, probably in stages, because we want to make sure that these lances are positioned, the bottom of them is propped on the figure for extra durability. So like this guy, he's got his lance hanging all outside the figure. We're going to need to bend this so that it will lay on his foot. It'll be supported on his foot. The only advantage of having these soft hands. Now let's cut a little bit of his boot here to give him a little flat spot. And that's where this is going to sit. Okay, so we'll just leave it attached to that guy. Same thing with this one. And we'll drop a drop of epoxy on there to hold that in its place. And in the last one, okay, so those three guys are done. Now I'm going to put them next to the horse where they're going to be, because I'm going to be a lack of time, definitely, to do this stuff. So let's look at the Elaine Tulare figure. He's on a Elaine Tulare horse on that one. On the last guy, shit, I don't remember what he's on. I think we were going to have to put him on the same. We're putting him here. And we'll put the new guy here, because this guy's definitely, this is the guy with the padded armor, he's definitely on that horse on the other stand. So that's how they're going to go. All right, let's mix up some epoxy and epoxy these guys down. You use epoxy, you don't ever have to worry about it again. Make sure our needle's handy. That is the best thing I've found for mixing up epoxy. Let's put a fair amount of that stuff down. And then we'll go grab the figures and brush coat them with the dull coat. And then the next step is paint these guys black. Then wait for that to dry. All right. this guy here, we're going to put a little dollop of the stuff down here. And then we'll put it through the bottom. And some at the top here of the hand. And let's push this through to where that fits. And then we'll put a tiny little bit. This one you want to do while the epoxy is kind of wet. And you know what? I think that this is actually probably a good thing for them to sit on while I'm using them. Until I'm done with them. That didn't work too bad. Okay, next guy. Same thing. Let's put a little dollop in here. I don't like using super glue for this. It says 0 give. Oh, he fell down, it's okay. Look at that. Just be right with you. Okay, last one. Let's go ahead and put him on this horse. Let's put a little more. This one actually has, these don't sit on there as well as some of the other ones. And this stuff will go from, I can work it really well, to, oh shit, it's too thick now, in a moment. So using an epoxy that has more reaction time isn't really more useful because, you know, you're not going to be able to do anything with it for most of the time. Okay. And this is the new figure that we were doing. Okay. We were going to put him on this armored horse, because this other figure is the same on the armored horse on the one I just did. So it's good to mix it up a little bit. They have uniform shields, but that's it. And some of their clothes are color coded on there, but well, I see what we're going to need to do. We're going to need to move this forward, farther forward. All right. this one with this character. Yeah, see, this is getting already goopy. We need to hurry. Clean that up later. I like this stuff because it's gap filling. Okay. And now let's make sure everybody's not sliding the wrong way at the wrong time. Okay. He's good. This guy's good. Okay. There's those three. We'll grab those figures that hopefully are mostly try in the garage. Right back. Okay. Here are the figures that are going to look glossy. Let's put this out here. We're going to have stuff everywhere. Now these guys shifted. You've had that happen before. They shift on me like afterwards. And as long as it happens early on. Well, so we're seeing happen. You have to break it off and start over again. No big deal. I just don't want to waste time. It's time wasting. All right, let's grab the new stuff that we bought. It's the same stuff as last time. Dull coat, top coat. Holy shit. It went down in price. That doesn't make any sense. It used to be $5.99 and it's now $4.59. Well, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. All right. We need to just not do that. And here's the old brush cleaner, which looks relatively good until you shake it up. And then it's worthless. How much is this? $3.99. We'll use a new one. I might find a use for this other one, but all right. Don't really care for this lid though. Oh, this is getting into some weird shit here. All right, let's get all painted things away from this. I don't like this freaking lid. I'm using the old lid. I don't have any small children around here that are going to get poisoned by this stuff. This in the cover. This doesn't even look like it's even on tight. That's the brush cleaner. Let's get the brush that we're going to use for it. Now, before I get too carried away, I want to make sure I don't have whatever the hell that white thing was. Well, I just have to keep an eye on it as I use it. If I see that thing coming off, I'm going to replace it, because I don't want those little white specks in the stuff. I thought it was actually the stuff drying, but it isn't. It's part of whatever the lid is damaging it. All right. So we're going to take our brush, which is relatively big, and go over the figure pretty thick with the flat. Now this is a lacquer. And as time goes on, it gets flatter and flatter. So in a couple days, it'll be flatter than it was the first day. You're done shopping, okay. You survived Walmart. I haven't been there in 6 years. They pissed me off with the pulling the ammo off the shelves. So I'm like, well, not that I bought it that often, but I'm like, if you're going to be a dick about, like, you know, not selling to people because you think we're, you know, we're not worthy, then I'm not buying the rest of your Chinese shit there, but you can go there if you want. I don't want to. People complain about them because it's like, oh, they got rid of the cashiers. And I think that's a good thing, because then you don't have to deal with the people that work there that are grumpy. All right. Last one. And this step is actually one of my favorite steps, because the painting of this enhances the color somehow. I don't know how it does, but it changes the color. It actually makes it more vibrant. I know that doesn't make any sense, You would think, oh, well, it just dulls it. No, it doesn't. It actually makes it better. It's hard to explain until you actually do it. And rumor has it, other people have not had the same effects. Okay, let's not go over the shield. I don't think I went over this little rim. Let's do that. And then we'll leave it be. Let's try to get the most of this stuff off. We're about to pollute this brush cleaner. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and take the other brushes that I know that I've used for this, and we'll go ahead and clean them and the good stuff too. Here's another one. That's the one thing about enamel things, is you can reactivate the paint. And I want to say there's one more. I don't use these brushes for anything else. Here it is. Because last time these were cleaned, they were cleaned in the super dirty enamel cleaner. Okay, so let those guys dry out. Put these back. It's funny because this doesn't have any instructions here on the bottle how long you need to wait. Not that I would wait that long. I'm impatient, so. Never seen the writers on the pencil thing. Me neither. I'd never done that before. All right. We learn shit every day. Never done that before. All right, now these guys, hopefully, their epoxy is set enough that I can go ahead and paint them black. And this is the stage I hate the most. I like the last stage the best, and the first stage the least, because it's messy, or it could be messy. Messy for no reason. I get any on my thumb? No. All right, let me come over here. Get rid of this dust we have on here. Writers of the pencil. Just happened to be what I had handy. Oh. It's not a work day. I don't have to bend over. Okay. If they are Byzantines, it doesn't count. What doesn't count? Yes, they're Byzantines. Yep. Next three. You got these three to do. Another set of 3, the commander, and the command post before I can move to another army. Good old Vallejo Black Primer. All right. Welcome, Jack. Yeah, I discovered this not that long ago. And I generally only switch to something because I'm not happy with something I'm using. I don't, I'm not a fan of changing things just for change's purposes. And what I used to prime for the longest time is I used to use this stuff called Model Master Acryl. It was a tester product, and it was their water-based acryl line, which, well, when I was working at the hobby store, it came out with it. So maybe like 92, 93, they came out with it. And I used that for the longest time because it was water-based, but it flowed pretty well. And then they stopped carrying it, so I switched to Model Master Enamel, and they stopped carrying that too. So then I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? I don't want to use craft paint. And, I don't know how long this stuff has been around, but I gave it a shot, and it flows like the thinned down enamel. It flows really, really well. And it has some polyurethane type properties to it. The only thing that really stinks about it is it's hard to get off your fingers if you get it off your fingers. So I don't want to really get it on me if I can avoid it, but it flows really well. It's self-leveling to a degree. So if you put too much of it in one place, it doesn't clog the detail of the figures. And I've been really happy with it. I don't think it's really durable, but I don't know that it needs to be. Just have some kind of adhesion there so that the paint can stick to it, and I've never had a problem with it. But it's relatively, I've only started using it in the last maybe year, something like that. You put yours on dowel rods. Some say 15 should be primed white because they're so small. What color is acryl? Black. I've always primed black, and I don't plan on changing. So I use lots of layers anyways, so I don't care. That doesn't really bother me. What I don't want is some tiny little hole that's barely visible that is white and not the color it's supposed to be. So I value that a lot. So I always prime black. And, it works for me. I'm not converting people. I don't care if you use purple. That's up to you, If it makes you happy, do it. I got no plans on priming any color other than black. Some people I've heard, if they're playing like Indians, they'll prime them in brown so they don't have to work that hard at. I just think it's really easy to just have every single thing in black and work from there. It works with my painting style, so I've been doing that since about 1995. I don't think I'm going to be changing that anytime soon. Your fingers get covered, just a messy painter. Soapy water and a green pan scrubber does the trick. Yeah, I guess if you're using shading or washing like that, priming in white might help, but I don't do any washing. Not on the figure. I don't think I'm a bit of too much of a control freak for that. Just like those contrast paints, I've watched a couple of videos on them, and they're not for me. They're not going to help me get the painting done faster where I'm going to be happy with it. So the only way I'm going to be able to paint faster is paint more often. See, I've got little splatters of black here. They're very tiny, and it happens because the stuff's pretty watered down, or it looks like it's watered down, thinned down, however you want to look at it. But I've only been using this for maybe a year because the source of my other stuff just dried out. So yep, anything you can reach, exactly. Build lighter colors up from black, a standard technique. I don't know where I picked it up. Probably looking at some White Dwarf magazine in the mid 90s. Now, my daughter does watercolors, which are the opposite of this. And that's very unforgiving. You got to paint whatever color you paint. That's as light as it's ever going to be. And you build dark on it. So it's exactly the opposite of what I'm doing. But she seems to be really happy with it, but I'll tell her, it's like, you know, what you're painting is hard because it's very unforgiving. Whereas I find this is extremely forgiving. Especially as thin as I put the layers down. I could repaint something 4 times and it wouldn't cover up over the detail very much. I don't know why I'd have to do that, but rarely do I have to paint over it once. But it's peace of mind. Do painters still soak their figures in soapy water to remove the resin chemicals? I have never done it, but I'm lazy, you know. I've never done it. And the problem is that, okay, let's say I do that. Let's say I soak these figures in some soapy water. All right, cool. Now I got to dry them. And I got to make sure everything of them is dried, because if I do this, this will be ruined. And, you know, I don't want to have to wait until tomorrow or the next day to make sure they're all dry. So I'm just lazy. I'm just, F it. Paint them. Move on. You know, I don't cut corners on, that's probably the only thing I cut corners on. I don't cut corners on most things. I take a long time on each figure, so I'm not really looking for ways that are going to increase my painting time for each one. Anthony Holton, welcome. You've only used contrast paints for 18mm Japanese Oni and 18mm Chinese Dragon. They suit well for fantasy or mythological creatures, but don't use contrast paints for uniforms. I've also heard that some colors work a lot better than others. And hey, if they help some people not get frustrated and paint their stuff for the hobby, it's a good thing. And, you know, I'd always say is more choices are good for the consumer. So yeah, you got to make sure you have excellent lighting. If you guys see that I don't have excellent lighting here, this isn't really geared up for the video, but yeah, it's that and a table that's at a comfortable height and that doesn't shake. Because I had people say to me, man, your figures look too dark. And I'm like, this playing area, the lighting in it stinks. I'm not going to paint them like super bright just because, you know, the painting might be off. The lighting's off. But we have pretty good lighting everywhere we play now. That wasn't always the case, but the lighting's pretty darn good. All right, let's try this out. We need to go ahead and put the next stand together. Meaning the next Litco stand. I bet I didn't put a magnet on it, did I? No. We're going to go ahead and do the next 3. I like these thicker stands because Well, that was the only ones that were available at the time when I started using them, and I don't want to convert stuff over. And it increases your chance of grabbing the figures by the edge of the stand and not damaging the figures themselves. 2, 3, right? Let's use this one. I think that's an older one that's thinner. All right, let's move these fellows out of the way. And these are slightly larger than the stand, but I really do not like when these magnets overhang the side of the stand, because it does not allow the stands to butt up against each other when you want them to perfectly. Or near perfectly. All right, windy bastard. And I can't paint somewhere where there's no air circulation. So I paint, what is it, 72 or 73 with air circulation. You've been painting since 1979. Black priming still the best technique. Yeah. Nordic, there you are. Where you been? I was out of town for last day and a half, so there was no painting got done. But we knew it was coming up. We'll get these guys done when we get them done, and that's when they'll be done. You're not on that no longer on that bad sleep pattern. Excellent. So you're not awake when you're streaming early in the morning or the weekends. We were on a 5-mile walk. Excellent. Guests are grilling in my backyard. I might have to leave if the fire department shows up. Yeah, we did all our 4th of July stuff yesterday. It's hard to do 4th of July things when you have to go to work the next day. So most holidays should fall on Saturdays. Make it easy. But we went out of town. We didn't go very far, but we went out of town for a couple days. So the wife got back, and she literally got back in the car and went in the opposite direction from whence she came. But I thought for sure I'd be able to get these 3 figures done while she was gone. But I underestimated how much time got consumed by doing other things around here. So it's all good. Watched some shows with the daughter and stuff like that on last week that I could have gotten them painted, but then I would have had to be a hermit when I left. You know, when I came back home, like, leave me alone, lock myself in my room. So we got a roast cooking in the oven. Technically, 4th of July is the wrong date for the signing. Not every signer did so on the 4th. Saturday holidays would interfere with your temple activities. Okay. Well, I'm not going to get my wish anyway, so, you know. Sunday is well, it's not Sunday. I don't even know what day of the week it is. Monday? I guess it's Monday. You did all your grilling a couple of months back. Still smells fine. Finally got through season 3 of Stranger Things. I didn't like season 3, but season 4 is made up for it. You think season 4 is better than 3? We just finished it the other day. Couple things. I talked about it earlier, but you weren't here, so I'll bring them up again. Unlike video games, movies and shows are the opposite. As longer they go on, the farther the seasons go generally are crappier. Video games will have better graphics or more things to do or, that kind of stuff. But the shows, I thought season 1 was one of the best things I've seen in 20 years. Season 2 was not as good. Season 3 wasn't as good as season 2. Season 4, the whole thing, have you seen it yet? The whole thing in Russia is just stupid. It's just stupid. Season 1 was awesome. One of the reason season 1 was awesome is you have kids that are actually scared of stuff. Not like, you have all these shows like the kids are like the freaking badasses, not scared of anything, and the adults are like, oh, I don't know about that. And the kids like, let me at them, I'll splat them, And it just seems like, and season 1 wasn't that way. So, Treason Day, you tax-dodging, ungrateful colonials. Well, you're not my master. My people are, people like, I saw this meme that came a couple of years ago. They were like, you guys are still upset about what was it? I haven't cared about the royals since 1776. And it's like, well, my people haven't cared about your royals since 1588. So there you go. You have the last 2 episodes of season 4 to go. Okay, they're pretty long, but they don't seem that long. It's better than what they did with Game of Thrones, which is just rushed it. So it's okay. American soldiers who served the British Allies had to go to Canada after the war. There's worse places to go. Duck quills are hard to find. Not all they're quacked up to be. Oh boy. Yeah, I got an episode and a half of Kenobi to watch with the daughter, and I don't have anything nice to say about it, but we're still going to watch it. I'm not a fan of the new Disney. So, I'll just leave it at that. I'm not a fan of the new Disney. Disney's just involved in too many things. So. These guys dry-ish? It's getting pretty dry. I don't want to fuck these guys up by now. I still see some wet spots there. Let's mess with this instead of that. Well, we know we're going to do the armored guy last. This is the guy with the quilted armor. We're going to do the Elaine Tulare guy first. All right. Now that we have him here, this one's on a brown horse. The other Elaine guy is on a one. Okay, so we're going to use a light colored horse for this bid. Maybe even a gray one. Let's do this guy in a gray horse. The fact that I don't like most things that are on television makes it real easy to not watch television. Plus, after the bombing of the book of Boba Fett, I'm less willing to give their shows a shot. Boba Fett could have been better. It wasn't horrible. I mean, even The Mandalorian wasn't perfect. My best the best thing in any of the new stuff was that one part where the Mandalorian blows that Jabba away with a shot with his rifle, just blows him to bits. But I watch that stuff because I grew up with it. Not that it's that I'm even a fan of science fiction. It's just I grew up with it. And it's kind of like, okay, well, let's see where the story's going to go now. They made that huge hotel right? They made that Disney huge hotel that was all Star Wars themed. Sounds like a great idea, but then they made it the new Star Wars. So I doubt it's doing well. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not doing as well as it did if they did it based on the old movies. Just make the whole thing based like on Mos Eisley, big desert-looking place. My brother refuses to watch Star Wars. He never did as a kid. I don't know what happened to him, but he never watched it as a kid. And he was talking about it this weekend. He thought it was dumb as shit and how Star Trek was better. And I didn't grow up with Star Trek. I think Star Trek is just not my thing. So use a tongue depressor for Peyton 15's 4 to 5 figures row assembly line paint. I can't do it. I got to do it one at a time. I got to have something to show for it in a few hours. Most people do it that way, though. But I got to keep this guy on track. If I get off track, nothing gets done. So most people do assembly. I've done some assembly line stuff, and I get really unmotivated. Okay, Jack, thanks for stopping by. Have a good night. All right, this should work for the horsey color. Oh, we better close this up before something happens. Before something happens that we don't want to happen. You can paint a bag of 3015s on tongue depressors in a couple hours to a nice standard, but I'm well practiced at it. Yep. The last thing I did assembly line. Well, I did the 8 bow stand guys, and I hated it. I didn't think I was ever going to finish. I did the spearman. Just get bored. But hey, you know, whatever works for you. I think this is still too bright. We need more water in this. Be right back. Let's get this thing wet. Okay. Annoyed that 1776 was on, didn't check to record it. I've never seen that movie. I don't think I'm gonna watch. Isn't Pacino in that? I'm not watching any more Pacino movies. I'm done with him and De Niro. I'm done with those overly New York people. That's just another planet. I've had enough. So one thing you didn't hear me talk about earlier about Stranger Things is I was alive during all those years, and I'm a big fan of '80s music, and they must have had copyright issues with stuff like we'll use your song, but you need to pay us $100,000. So they definitely did not use typical stuff that was played, at least in my part of the world. I never even heard of Kate Bush. I never even heard of that, or they didn't play it here. I remember 1986 really well. So, what else? Oh, I don't know if you've seen those two movies yet. Well, tough. You should have seen them already. I'm not going to give anything away. They used Hummers in the movie. Hummers weren't out in '86. Hummers didn't come out until they just come out just before the Gulf War. So what, 1990, something like that? They didn't have Hummers in '86. I don't think they did. Oh, come on. I didn't want to click on that. I slid my mouse, I moved it, and it went towards the bottom of the bottom there that showed a movie, breaking news. I don't care about breaking news. I'm over here in my own little world. What else? I don't know how the hell Steve didn't survive season 1. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how the hell he survived season 1. I thought for sure that guy was a goner. Heck, good for them for doing something unpredictable. The other thing I've had about enough of is Winona Ryder. I've had enough of her. Now it's like she just sits, everything. She's just, like she's waiting for another drink of wine or something like that. She's oh well. It's still worth watching. It's just not as good as it could be, I called Major Bull on that. Steve apparently survived because the directors liked the actor. Well, he does a good job. But just, that just had everything looking like he was a goner. I actually like Steve's character. I hated his character at the start, but now find him to be the best character on the show. He's okay. He's okay. He could probably lose, if he ever needs to lose like 5 pounds, he just get a haircut. Yeah, he's all right. I don't know that I like any of the characters. I think that Dustin has definitely taken a back seat. I think that as Eleven's dialogue has increased, or she speaks now, or she's been speaking now, it's basically taken away from Dustin's dialogue, which honestly, he was one of the better characters. You call a major bull and the cops grilling 11 at the station. Yeah, it's still not bad, but you know, you see stuff it's like, man, how could you miss something so obvious? I tell you what, my favorite scene of everything was the whole pool scene with Barb. That was like, I'm watching that for the first time. I don't know what's gonna happen, and yeah, I'm glad it ended up not being as horror as it could have been, because I'd be less likely to watch it. Well, I wouldn't let my daughter watch it, but you know, it's not horror at any. It's definitely more horror this season than any other one, but still, I would not call it horror. But it doesn't have a lot of jump scare stuff in it, so. Gotta go finish your pot of chili. Have a great 4th. You too, Anthony. And you can't have chili in this weather here. You'd be sweating like a fill in the blank. You'd be sweating like crazy. We're staying indoors. We did all our 4th stuff yesterday, so. Fireworks were going off everywhere yesterday. It's rarely do the fireworks end up happening the day that it's on the 4th, unless the 4th falls like on a Friday or a Saturday. They're usually doing them a day ahead of time. Who's whatchamacallit? Hold on a second. Let me think of who he is. Because I get Mike and Will mixed up. I mean, I don't see. Will's brother is worthless. Will's brother is worthless. A worthless character. And he proves that drugs are not good for you. You don't care for chili. I do. And I'll have it if I know the person that made it, but I would not get it like, you know, Wendy's, or might find a finger in her. Didn't that happen one time? Somebody found a finger in there. Does anyone have any suggestion to deciding on a project and actually going through with it, getting miniatures for it? I'm having a hard time deciding on what to do after you finish the 6mm. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it till you're done. Make a video. Make a video saying, this is what I'm going to do next. And then, you know, you have to do it on the video and make an ass of yourself if you have to change directions. That way you can hold yourself, keep yourself on a short leash. I don't want to think about what I do next because, you know, I like to daydream about what could be, and especially when you're interested in a ton of different stuff. Which I am interested in a ton of different stuff. Okay, I think we got a boo-boo that we need to fix right now. There's a piece of flash on this horse. It shouldn't be there because I should have caught it, and really the mold maker should catch it, but he won't be doing that mistake again because he passed away 6 years ago, or 7 years ago. There, let's take care of that. That's just going to come back and haunt us a little later. Oh, we got to do the face of this horse on this side. Austrian Napoleonic Order of Battle for the Battle of Wagram, 1809. Hey, if I was going to paint Napoleonics, it would be Austrians for sure. But talk about a period we don't need any figures for. Man, the boys have so much Napoleonics. And honestly, I've played it enough times. I don't love the time period. I don't hate it. I don't love the time period, but the appeal to me would be to paint all the different units, you know, and just to see what they look like, you know. Not make up your own, you know, paint the actual units. I like those Austrian troops with the German helmets. What they call the German helmets. I like those. They're unique. I don't know, does a helmet have to be protective? Because I don't think those German helmets were made of steel or anything. Like the early World War I helmets, you know, those, none of that stuff was protective. Until people start dying like flies, like, maybe we need to do something about that. Came across on my Audible book recommendation. There's two books from Appian, and I didn't realize that what the subject matter they were on. And I'm like, I'm going to probably do them next. Because it'd be pretty interesting to see if what detail there are on these battles that might be interesting to do it. But I really need to at least listen to this stuff with like a notebook. Like, okay, I'll read more about this, or this was the battle where there was this such and such an ambush, and might be, because if I just go by memory, I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have to read it again and find out where it was that the interesting thing that I heard was. Because unlike physical books, it's hard to go back to an audio book and remember where it was that you saw it, that you heard it. The Austrians were not all white. Jaegers, Grenzers, Landwehr. Hit walking a month ago, you've hit 92 miles. Excellent, man. Excellent. Walking never hurt anybody. We all need to do more of it. We all need to do more of it. We got to live long, man. We got lots of stuff to paint. The Austrian artillery is, Grenzers with the blue pants. The Hungarians, I think, had blue pants too, didn't they? The artillery has those yellow carriages, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool looking. When's that Napoleon movie supposedly coming out with Joaquin Phoenix? I just think that's a miscast of a massive magnitude, but what do I know? I just saw some meme about him recently, and that's what reminded me that was in the works. I don't know. As bad as that could be, it couldn't be worse than Vin Diesel as Hannibal Barca. And when they were talking about doing that, that just there's no way, you know. That would have been an extremely poor idea. Yeah, I thought the Hungarians did also. If you wear a shako to appear taller than your enemy, and your opponent wears a shako too, does it really make that much of a difference? Everybody's pretending that they're taller than they really are, so it kind of negates itself. No? Taller men were moved into the grenadier companies. Hmm? Hungarian regiments switched to shakos in 1809. What they were before that? Hold on a second. I need to check on something before it becomes a problem. I'll be right back. paint points, 50 power meters, not big enough caving, 11 battles. I have a main cave wargame room, 18 by 6 foot table, all my nappies are 15s. Yeah, boys have. Beach has, I think, he said enough figures to do Leipzig with Napoleon's battles. I'd rather play DBN just because you get something accomplished. But if I was a Napoleonics guy, I would not be interested in playing DBN because it just wouldn't have the amount of detail that I would require for being a Napoleonics guy. Okay, these guys are dry enough to put them on a stand. So let's pop these guys off. They're super glued on. I use super glue because you never have to worry about them popping off. And it's relatively easy to deal with. You just stick it underneath there and wiggle. And it usually behaves. There you go. And of course those are reusable. Same thing here. And put these back in the recycle bin where they will be used for somebody else. Make sure these stand up straight. Ah, there's always one. All right. Okay. Now, let's figure out who's going to go who. We got the bowman. It's on that side. He's going to be the middle or over here on this one. You have a guy that's looking to the right, so let's put him on the right. This guy looking forward. This is how we're going to glue these guys down. All right, let's get Mr. Epoxy back up here again. Napoleonics based for the old empire system, a very malign set of rules. Yep, I've heard about that. When you demonstrated, I knew how to properly place artillery for converging fields of fire. The guy I played with wouldn't play me because my artillery would wreck his formations. He's a very sore loser. We refought Wagram. I destroyed the French army and played me after that. Oh, well. Yep. Are there that many sore losers out there? I don't know. Fuck them. I ain't got time for sore losers. It's just a game, man. Just a game. All right, where did the needle go? Yeah, I heard about Empire. This particular guy, who was 3 or 4 decades older than me at the time, was a real bad loser. Good riddance. This is the one battle I've done. Marengo. I've done Marengo. Mitch says he's got a battle to try. Using, what are they playing? They're playing Command and Colors Napoleonics. I know it's just kind of very light, but they're having fun with that. Problem with these guys intermeshing with the other figures. All right, we'll let these guys dry a little bit, and then we'll goop the stands. Goopity goop. I played the Austrians in a game called Napoleon in Europe. It's kind of like an Axis and Allies type thing. And we played a scenario where nobody had any preferences, and I picked the Austrians. I got a soft spot for the Habsburgs anyways. So I'm playing them, and I get double teamed by everybody, and everybody gets defeated, and I rolled like a fiend, and it was fun kicking everybody's ass. So some older people just can't think outside the box. I'm saying that was the case with this dude, but sometimes you gotta try something different. But historically, everybody I've ever wargamed with has been older than me. Whether it's a year or 2 or 10 years. Okay. Well, we know that the leather is going to be the leather and the chain is going to be the chain. So let's go ahead and do the leather and the chain. Leather and chain. That sounds like some S&M club. Do they have those? I don't want to know. Probably. Leather and chain. A lot of people don't want to learn how to play a different way. A lot of people want to play the way they want to play. And if the game, if they lose playing the way they want to play, then the game's wrong, it's broken, and they want to... Now, you know, there's plenty of games that are broken. I'm not saying that all games are broken, but I take it as an opportunity of, like, learn how to play a different way. You know? That's not... Losing is not, I didn't have a good time, you know? Not being involved is, I didn't have a good time, you know? I started gaming in 2007. The only people who really took me in their group was Frank Chadwick and his gamers, which were like 3 to 4 decades older than I was, and none were bad sports. Been accused of being a rulebook lawyer and attorney. My training, advocation, but very fire-minded always. Uh-oh, we have an attorney here. Look out. What I don't like about rules lawyers are people that read the rules and have never played the game and somehow think that they're experts. I want to play by the rules, but sometimes the rules are just make your head hurt. And sometimes you're playing rules that are not organized in a way that I would organize them. And the fact that the rules are abstract doesn't help. Because I've always played very specific games. So if you can't figure out what the rule is, you could probably come out with something that's reasonable, because you're dealing with very specifics, not generalizations. So did you live over in Frank Chadwick's area? Because isn't he from Illinois or something like that? I think he's from outskirts of Chicago area or something like that. Start playing game 20s, try to keep still playing the same way. Yeah, when I started gaming, the people that played Napoleonics didn't look like they were having a good time. They just did not like they were having a good time. Frank moved here to eastern Pennsylvania. That's where I met up with him. Okay. Yeah, I had several of his games. His games were pretty clear. Does he know his own rules? I know some people get accused of not knowing their own rules. Like they play and run a game, like, man, the guy doesn't even know his own rules. Probably not the case with him. His rules tend to not be crazy. I don't like the infantry rules for command decision. They're too, like, they make infantry, like, too boring, you know. But the tank stuff, you know, the tank on tank, I like that stuff. I grew up playing his stuff. So. Eastern Pennsylvania, the home of HMGS. Yeah. Yeah, my only gripe with command decision really was that most turns you didn't have meaningful decisions to make. Meaning, there was always something obvious, like, well, I'm just going to not move at all so I can fire extra, you know, or I'm only going to move half speed. And there's very few times where you ended up doing that double move where you could only fire in the last phase, because it was basically suicide. You only did that until, you know, when the enemy couldn't get you at all. So there weren't really any super really interesting, meaningful decisions that you were making from turn to turn. And I didn't realize it at the time, but now playing something like what I play now, where like every turn the decision you make is critical, and there's like you know you can't do everything you want, so you're going to have to skimp on something. You know, it definitely changes the level of of the game. I don't ever want to play another game again where you have fog of war. Like, okay, you guys leave the room. That just eats up a shitload of time, you know. So it doesn't mean I want to have to play unrealistic stuff, but just come up with something else where, you know, you've got pips or something like that where you can't do everything you want, you know. That whole leave the room, let me talk to the GM crap is, you know, that's for other days. You like the scale rules found the games I played were a lot of fun. I like 1 to 5th scale games. Yeah. I said if I had to do it again, I would I'd make a counter that all 5 tanks would be represented on one counter. You know, maybe like a 40 by 40 millimeter and put 5 little tanks on there. And yeah, they would just be treated as one tank, but it'd have a better look, I think. I don't know. Just brainstorming. I'm fine not playing any more World War II. That's all we used to play. Field of Glory. I picked up Field of Glory Empires the other day, and man, it's freaking complicated as shit. I don't know if I want to be able to get into that. Although the starting campaign for it is like Pyrrhus. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So I marched Pyrrhus up, got into 2 conflicts with the Romans, exported them to the game on the computer, whooped their ass. I mean, like, I took 3% and they took like 42. They left, did that twice, took Rome, won. I'm like, okay, well, I know how to do the battle part because I've played the battle part before, and honestly, just playing something like DBA, you know how to play it. So it's just there's just so much stuff to do. And I've watched some of the videos, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is making my head hurt. I may just need to pick some out of the way place that has like one province, like the Goths or something like that. The Goths are like one province that's like damn near worthless in the middle of nowhere where they can't be gotten at for a little while, and just kind of tinker around with it and see what happens. Learn how to manage one province before they give you, 20. You played a game master who had a home set of nappy rules where my grand battery rolled a 1 and he said I didn't score an artillery hit. I told him he should consider a reality check. I was playing a chess master once. He was in the middle of telling someone how great his move was. Then I checkmated him and he just looked stunned. Yep, Pico Army, absolutely. I think they'd look good. Those little guys look cute. And it would be, pretty affordable. I'd rather play Catan than chess. That ought to tell you something. I'm not programmed to be a chess player. I don't think that way. Nor do I want to, I don't, my life's not depending on thinking that many turns ahead. So I don't really interested in it. I like luck. I think luck has some equalizing aspects to it. You always think 2 or 3 moves ahead. Well, there you go. You like it. I don't. I'm not programmed that way. Do I have wood for your sheep? No, I'm not Scottish. Speaking of animals, I do want to do another stand that has a little dog on the stand. That's a lot of fun. And I think I've narrowed down which one it's going to be, but I don't know if I'm going to get around to it. Like I said, I like to fantasize about what I'm going to do next. But once I do it, I've got to stick with it, or I've just wasted myself and everybody else's time. Randy, there you are. Happy 4th. I need to go back to regular routine. I don't even know what day of the week it is. Monday, I think. You know, luckily it's a short week. Fortunately. I'm all out of whack. Wife went on vacation, so that turned every day into being strange, non-routine. And then, holiday and I've only rebased for DBA, and I had a positive experience. And I use epoxy to glue the guys down, and I popped them right off. The same way I popped these guys off of these stands, I did the same thing with the epoxy. It wasn't bad. Okay, we need to stop what we're doing here, and let's go ahead and cover this. We're going to do the goop on these guys. The goopity goop. Put my glass on so I can find it. Here it is down here. I had to go to the orthopedic hand surgeon. Ow. Missed many billable hours in recovery. The biggest injury I've ever had, still went to work. Got in a car accident, still went to work. Wasn't real bad, fortunately. I was running and slipped, and man, I don't even remember what happened. Sprang an ankle. I think that's what it was, or just twisted it. Because I've never broken a bone yet. Not that it's something that I want to do. All right. Where is the spatula? Spatula oblongata. A good starter for Field of Glory Empires is day shift due to the terrain around the area, but the southern Arab states like the Saba can give a decent out-of-the-way game and let you learn. Okay, I may do that. I saw a couple of videos and, so this weekend you were telling me about that I liked it. I ended up getting it, right? And the starter campaign was Pyrrhus. Perfect, right? So I didn't know how to do the exporting thing, so I went in and I marched on Rome, and I faced them in a battle, exported it to Field of Glory 2, crushed them. I mean, like 3 to 47 or something like that. And then I'm like, well, what do I do now? Well, I don't know what to do with any of the production stuff, so let me march them again on Rome. And for some reason, they had like hardly any cavalry, which was, of course, the wrong move because they got devastated. I mean, they got crushed again. And but I fought like a naval battle against the Romans, and I never built any ships. I never moved them from the space they were in, and I got crushed. But I'm like, I don't give a shit about ships. My whole army's in Italy right now. And yeah, they got stomped again, and I got like, it was weird. Like the victory points I got was like 50. It said like 50,000. I'm like, that's a bit extreme. When the Romans had 8 points and I had 50,000. Like, okay, it wasn't that much of a one-sided thing. I'm like, okay, well, we know how to do the battles thing, and the export actually worked really well. Export and fight, and one guy in one of his videos says you don't want to do that for every battle because you're going to be fighting a lot of battles. I'm like, yeah, but I know I'm going to win them because I've played Field of Glory, the video game, quite a bit, and I was already good at it from playing so many years of DBA. It's like I had a clue, and man, I was watching one video. Man, it's so involved. It's so involved. So yeah, I need to pick some out of the way little place, like the Goths or the Burgundian star on a freaking island in the middle of the freaking Baltic, you know. Just watch your video on the new Redgrass wet palette. Yeah, I didn't know that. My brother said I didn't know if I found that useful. I'm like, shit, I already used that. Absolutely. You quit playing Rome Total games and computer after Rome Total 2. Said I couldn't conquer Rome with 4 field armies that were just off conquering Gaul and Germania. Yeah, the game I hated was Europa Universalis. And I don't know which one it was, whether it was 1 or 2, but, you know, I'm off playing the Spanish, of course, and I got to war with France. Well, one thing I hated about it is you walked all the way over, and as soon as your counter almost got over the territory, they attacked you with somebody else from a different direction and stopped your attack. So this, you know, it's almost like getting sniped on an eBay bid, you know? And, but I couldn't take over France. You know, wouldn't let me take over the province that was, you know, Paris or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to play this anymore, you know. And that was one of those games that you could play all kinds of weird nations, and I just never had interest in playing weird stuff. So, man, there's so much stuff to do on the Empire, so I'm going to have to just tinker with it. The thing with Rome Total War 2 is that I think the war game in Field of Glory is much better than the war game in Rome Total War, because the problem with Rome Total War is everything is the same in that, and I just get to the point where I don't want to pause the game a million freaking times for every single thing, and I just feel like I'm freaking rushed all the time. I mean, after you see some of the units in combat with each other, I'm like, oh, that's cute, you know, but I don't know. I've done it so many freaking times before. Declare yourself up, or game said and you can't. I said, okay, click no, more game, don't play video games. Do I like the Viejo Basing Gel over the stuff you used to use? I do. And the only reason I switched was because the other stuff wasn't available. I like this stuff better. It has smaller, more in scale with the troop rocks. The consistency's better, and it dries a little faster. I like it better. As a matter of fact, I probably should buy more of this stuff and just hold on to it in case it disappears. But, you know, the last thing disappeared and I found a better item because of it, so maybe I shouldn't do that. But yes, I do like this stuff better. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's usually, I mentioned earlier, I don't switch products unless something goes wrong with the original product. You know, I just don't do it just like, hey, there's a new product, let me go over to that. I'm like, I'm pretty much happy with what I do. I'm not looking for the coolest thing and switch over to that and throw money at the problem. But I literally dried up every single thing that I had for it, you know? So, I do play video games, but I can't play them for as long as I used to. I get bored. There's no one to share them with. And they're just inspiration to get stuff painted. And usually what'll happen is I'll find some huge error and I'm like, they didn't have that. And then I start wondering, like, if you guys missed something so obvious, what is there that's not so obvious that you missed and screwed up? So get used to the management. Once you have over half the regions for a province, you can create the province and set it to automatically follow policy, economic, military. Okay. Yep, this is the Vallejo stuff right here. That's it right there. Well, I can't do it here, it's too far, but ground texture acrylic, and it's the rough gray pumice. And the reason I picked this one is there's a guy who did an intensive video about comparing the different basing things that Vallejo made with what I was using before. And this one and what I was using before were the closest to. So I'm like, well, it's natural for me to try this one. And it dries with a nice rocky texture. I'm happy with it. Good thing, because I'm pretty much stuck with it. I don't, they don't have the other stuff. All right, we're gonna have to get a little creative. Not that I haven't had to do that before. Let's get a brush we don't love so much. Say this one. But yeah, you can't go and play like, I want to play, Antigonus right off the bat. Like, he's got freaking 40 zones, or like, no. Or Croesus. I wanted to start playing Croesus in the earlier one, in Lydia. I'm like, maybe not. I got to start with some little thing that, just to tinker with it. I know I'm not going to win, probably not going to get any points worth a damn, but just something to mess around with. Something that's not near anybody big, This stuff will be fully dry in about 3.5 hours, something like that. That's pretty freaking quick. It dries faster than the other stuff. Antigonus is hard because you will collapse if you don't have multiple wars at once. Yeah, that's just too advanced for something. And I think just going in there and starting to play Rome is just too easy. And they got people too close to them, so. But I plan on exporting the battles because I'm a pretty good battlefield commander. I may not know how to, run a country, but I know how to kill people. In that game, anyways. Really, the only thing I didn't like about the battles in Field of Glory is that sometimes when you have a meeting engagement, your opponent just sits there until you get, and however they're set up, unless you get within a certain number of squares away from them. Like once you get within, I don't know, 24, whatever number of squares it is, then they start moving. So basically, they just ignore you at, at a distance. And that just seems kind of hokey. Like you could really exploit that, but. There's a lot going on. Uh-oh. Oh, don't tell me you landed upside down. Yeah, you did, but it was pretty much dry. Yeah, it would have been cool if they did it exactly when Alexander died. And then you could do all of the successors. But 301's not bad. One element I'm not fond of in Field of Glory is the elephants. They're just way too unpredictable. I guess they should be, but I don't have a whole lot of... I don't throw them into somebody unless they're already disrupted. I don't throw them into fresh troops. They're just way too unpredictable. Which I guess they should be, but... Impetuous, absolutely. That's not the problem. They're impetuous. They're unpredictable in how they're going to, sometimes they get scared, and I don't throw them into fresh troops. There's a reason people stopped using them. Well, they didn't have access to them. That's one, but... They can kill your own infantry. Yeah, and they're always painted wrong, too. That's the only thing I don't like about it. I'd be like, those guys don't look like that. That's the wrong shield pattern for that army, Yeah, I went there. That's what I do. That's what I do. Okay, rocks for sale. Get your fresh rocks here. Time for that. Yeah, I don't know how the African forest elephants were, but you can't train the big ones. I guess they know they're freaking king of the mountain. They're not gonna put up with your shit. And some of the Indian ones are just about as big, so. And I'm not putting any towers on elephants prior to Paris. So it's not confirmed, but that's the best guess that he was the first one to use towers on elephants. So any early successor war stuff, they're just running bareback. Only Tarzan could train African elephants. There you go. Okay. So this needs to dry. Yeah, these guys look good. I don't know how they'll fight, but they'll look good. That's all. That's the only thing I can control. Leave for a few minutes. An elephant. Talk switches to elephant training. Yeah. What do you think? We're gonna talk about Napoleonics all night? I don't have anything to add to that. Heffalumps. Everybody likes heffalumps. All right, I'll be right back in a. How many more stands do I have to go? Two more stands of cavalry, a cavalry general, and a command post. So after this, 3, 4 more stands. Be right back. World War III possibilities. If I did World War III stuff, it'd be using. I was trying to look for my combined arms rules, because not that I'm going to do it, but like, what would it look like in like 1958, or do like a Warsaw Pact NATO thing in 1958? So you could do those M103 heavy tanks and shit like that. So, wouldn't last long. Russia can't even beat Ukraine. What hope in hell would they have beaten the most professional military on the planet? Well, you got to do it at a different time. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and call it, because I need to do something else. So, I've been on here for almost 3.5 hours. So, anyhow, this is another stand down, and yeah, we'll probably paint him in the morning. But until next time, thanks for stopping by, folks. Check out my latest unboxing video that I did